Hi there, I heard you're about to interview for your dream job, and I'm here to help you ace that interview. But first off, I'd like to welcome you to the STEM Minutes Network. Okay, let's get down to business. I'll be giving you interview tips and the top 5 questions you'll be asked during your interview. These tips can be used for both in-person and virtual interviews. For starters, it's crucial for you to understand the point of the interview. The interview is for the employer to obviously find out if you are the right fit for the position they're trying to fill. But also, the interviewee often forgets that this is also the process in which you will decide whether this is the company where you see yourself growing both personally and professionally. We will go into how you will determine if this company is the right fit for you later on in this video, and it will also be the finishing touch to impress your recruiters. Okay, now let's talk about first impressions. We know how crucial these can be, therefore it is important for you to arrive on time and dress professionally. There would be nothing worse than arriving late to the interview, and it would be really hard to come back from. Therefore, I recommend arriving 20 minutes prior to the interview for those in-person interviews. Now for virtual interviews, it's important to have the software and all your logins ready the day before. Hashing out those technical issues a whole day in advance would prevent those pre-interview anxiety jitters. Next, we have to talk about those crucial nonverbals, and those start from the moment you walk in to the moment you walk out that door. Now for an in-person interview, I recommend you shake your interviewer's hand the moment you walk in. And not one of those floppy fish things some of us like to call. I mean a firm and serious handshake while looking them in the eye. Okay, now on to eye contact. Maintaining eye contact throughout the entirety of your interview will show that you are engaged and actively listening. Now, let's talk about how confident and ready you are for this interview. Your confidence will be reflected through your tone. Therefore, it is very important to speak up and avoid using words like and like. Also, remember to sit up and control any of those jitters, such as playing with a ring or a watch you may have on, as that can show a recruiter that you are nervous. And although it is okay and fine to be nervous, we don't want to give off the impression that could be because we aren't ready for the interview. Okay, now before we get into the interview questions, I want to remind you guys of something that's very important that interviewees often forget in the midst of getting ready for the interview. It is crucial that you bring a few copies of your resume with you to the interview. Bring these in a professional portfolio or folder. Okay, now it's time to go through the questions you will be asked during your interview. These questions will likely appear in a similar manner to how I will tell you them, although remember, the interviewer may not use the exact same wording. Preparing for your interview by practicing these next 5 questions is likely to pay off. Either practice in front of the mirror or have a mock interview with a friend, but the key here is to practice, and practice some more. Okay, the first question they will ask you is, tell me about yourself. Now, although this question may seem extremely simple and maybe a time where you feel you can talk about what you like to do on the weekends, remember, this question is much more than that. Here is an example on the most effective way to show you are a well-rounded person that would be perfect for the job. I went to the STEM University of Seattle, Washington. My degree is in mechanical engineering and I have X, Y, and Z certifications. While at STEM University, I volunteered for X, Y, and Z and was also part of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers Executive Board. Through this, I developed my leadership and organizational skills. I then gained technical experience through insert class project here or an internship or full-time job experience. Performing thermal analysis for 6 months while leading my team was something I enjoyed working on, and I aspire to continue improving my skills. I also enjoy working as a team and have found that communication and flexibility has been the most effective method to achieve our goals. I am now interested in continuing my career at a company like yours that aligns with my values of insert values here that you have found that the interviewing company also values. Also, remember, if you're asked a question that you don't really understand, it's okay to ask the interviewer to please clarify and to give you a moment to think about your response. Okay, the second question you can be asked is to talk about a time when you were in a conflict with a member of your team or faced a technical challenge beyond your ability. The question may vary by asking you about having that conflict with X member from your team, such as your boss or someone more experienced than you. Regardless of how the question is worded, they will ask you about a time when you were facing a challenge. Preparing for this question is done by thinking about a few challenging situations that you were able to overcome prior to the interview. The key to answering this question is to show your problem-solving and critical thinking skills. No matter what the situation was, what matters is how you were able to positively turn the situation around. Okay, an example answer is, I was in a situation where a peer in my group performed an analysis incorrectly and guaranteed me that they had verified it was correct, although I knew it was not. I was sure that I could not allow them to turn in the incorrect data, and I took it upon myself to take action. I did not want to just outright tell my peer that their analysis was faulty. Therefore, I tasked myself with consulting the experts in our company on the analysis work. After doing my own calculations and working with the experts, I learned not only that my peer's work was in fact wrong, but also how they could have prevented the mistake. Approaching the person not only with a "you're wrong" statement, but also being able to provide feedback on how they can improve and how I appreciated the learning experience made it a positive experience. Time for question number 3. Why do you want to work for this company or in this role? Now this is where you can show how much research you did and how interested you are in their company. This research can be done on the company's website or on LinkedIn to learn more about the projects some of their employees have worked on. Here's an example answer. I am heavily involved in fluids analysis, and I want to grow as a professional in this field that I am passionate about. After learning about your cutting-edge analysis technology, I can't think of a better place to improve my skills while providing value to the team. I have also learned about Project X, and I believe that the future lies in a product like the one being developed in Project X. I want to be a part of that future, all while working alongside those who also value integrity and community involvement. For this question, it is important to remember to highlight those skills and abilities you have that align with what they are looking for in a candidate. Okay, on to question number 4. What are your strengths and weaknesses? As for strengths, this question really varies as we are all unique and have different abilities, but I do encourage you to think about what your strengths are that can be specifically applicable to the role you are applying for and how they align with the company's desired skills. Here's an example answer for strengths. A skill I actively work on that I believe has now turned into a strength is the ability to empower and lead an organization. This skill has become especially handy during stressful times where the group has hit a roadblock and needs a representative to improve the situation. I've learned that being positive, encouraging my peers, actively working towards a solution, and working with members outside of my organization can uplift my teams. Okay, on to weaknesses. The best way to not answer this question is by saying you either don't have any weaknesses or that your weakness is something that is really not a weakness, like I'm a perfectionist or I work too hard. They don't really want to hear that from you. Be candid and honest about your weaknesses because let's face it, we all have them. It's crucial to end your answer to this question on a positive note. Here's an example weakness. I am aware that I often get too excited about starting a new project and I like to start working on it right away. This leads to making others feel excluded in the early phase of the project, which is normally when the major decisions are made. I now understand that the best ways to encourage a team to work towards a common goal is to include them in the early decision-making process, as they would feel encouraged to be involved on a project they helped develop. I am working on improving this by ensuring I set up a meeting with my team as soon as practical to decide how we want to tackle the project and the roles we will each play. All right, now for question number 5, which all interviewers will ask you at the end of your interview. Do you have any questions for us? Now, this is the question that will help you determine if the company you are interviewing for is where you want to work. This is also the question in which you will show the interviewers you are their top candidate. Okay, I'm going to tell you the worst way to answer this question first. No, I don't have any questions for you. This would mean that you have ended your interview way before it could have ended. The way you should answer this is by really digging into the job in a way which will show you are genuinely interested in the position and the company. Well, it's known that people enjoy talking about themselves. Therefore, you can start off by asking, What does your day-to-day look like? Now, on to the best question you can ask that will show how much research you really did beforehand. As I was doing research, I found that your company has ventured into Project X. Can you please tell me more about this project? The last and best question that I have found that is great to end interviews with, because it will show how much of a self-starter you are and tells the recruiter that you will go the extra mile even when it is not required of you is, if I were to be granted this position, how can I best prepare for the role? Any books, skills, or software programs you suggest I should learn from? Okay, now you've aced the interview. What's next? Send a follow-up email to your interviewer, thanking them for their time and letting them know how much you enjoyed learning about their company. And now I'm confident that you're ready to take on that interview. If you know anyone that's about to interview, please share this video with them. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, I'm really interested in knowing how your interview went and if these tips were helpful. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching.